All right, in this recording, we're going to work on Spotlight. So started showing you how to make landmarks if you wanted to export this out um, into Photoshop and work on it. But I'm starting with some Photoshop images. I took some really dirty jeans. I'm not sure what type of pants this character is wearing. I thought about some dirty khakis, but this is the first thing I found, borrowed image from the internet. So going to go back into ZBrush, and again, we're going to go up to our highest level division. If we go hit Shift Z, you can see our lower division. This is what we're going to be using in Maya or your game engine. So for our Vive experience, we're going to have a normal map and diffuse map sitting on that. So go to your highest division. Um, you may even want to divide this even higher to maybe a fifth division, but 4 is good. Higher divisions, the better resolution you'll get on Spotlight. So we're going to go to Texture, and I already imported this file, so you can see it pops up, generates to the top here, and I'm sorry, it keeps popping out because of the recording. Hit Texture, and then you can see you can hit on and off, and it's basically Shift Z in Z, and you've done this before. So I'm going to hit Shift Z, and we've got our pants here. I'm going to hit Z real quick so we can pop up our interface here, and basically you can just scroll this in and out to scale it up. Again, this is a really poor image to work with, but um, it's basically using my nudge tool a lot. You can click on a nudge tool and pull that off to the side and basically cover the surface of the pants. Again, I have a feeling with a cloth you'll probably be using more Photoshop, and I can make another tutorial on that, on how to create a better UV map within Photoshop, and you can just kind of lay this flat and take your high-end pictures and make a better creation than what I'm doing. All right, so I'm just using nudge tool really quickly, and then I'm going to hit Z so I can start painting. And it should be able to paint. If you're not, you may have to go to Poly Paint and go hit Poly Paint from Texture or Colorize, and you should be able to start painting. So you can see I'm just really quickly doing a horrible job. Quickly just giving some surface color on that, just so we can see the rest of the pipeline, so we can see about how to export this out, and so forth. All right, so I'm going to hit Shift Z to get rid of it, and again, so this is only half the pants. You would flip it over, hopefully try to get some better pants images than what I have done. All right, so quickly with the texture map, you create new from Polypaint. And you can see if I highlight over it, you can see some of our pants. Again, you would spend a good half hour to work on the back of the pants, cloning here and there to underneath the crotch and the top of the pants and so forth. So what we want to do is go ahead and clone that real quick. And what that does when you clone it, brings it over to texture. And I'm going to go ahead and flip it because we need to flip it once we get it into Maya. UVs are upside down for some reason. And we're going to go ahead and export this out. I'll go to my dude folder, make a new folder saying final, hit create. Again, I'm going to go ahead and go right to my JPEG. You can use a PNG. JPEGs are fine with game engines. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. I'm going to go ahead and enter. Again, we have a lot of white in there. Not the most favorable thing to do. Alright, so now we're going to work on our normal map. Okay, for the normal map, you'll need to go all the way to the lowest division. So I hit Shift D, and hopefully you'll see our lower polygon starting to show up. Okay, there's our low end poly of that. And so what we want to do is create our normal map. That's kind of like a displacement map for game engines. So in real time, you'll see that higher level subdivision. So we're going to go ahead and go normal map. create normal map right there. Click on that. Depending on how heavy your upper division is, so we've gone up to 4. If it was 5, it would have taken a little bit longer. So if I roll over it, you can see that's our normal map. That you can see kind of the creases and so forth of our pants. So I'm going to go ahead and clone NF, or NM is normal map. And you can see it brought over to my texture. Go over to texture. Again, we have to flip it. Goes upside down. Hopefully it flips it, and then we're going to go ahead and export it out. Alright, so we got A pants too. Typically it says NM at the end. Let's hit save. Okay, hit enter. Pretty sure it says it as pants in it called NM at the end, so you know it's a normal map. Alright, so we're going to go back to Maya. Maybe it's still open. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do a new scene. Save, and I'm going to go ahead and import that lower division pants. Dude, final. Go back down. Alright, I'm going to open up the original Maya file. I have the low one there. Okay, so we have the low. I'll turn that back on. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so what we're going to do, go ahead, edit, delete by type again. This is the original one. And I'm going to go ahead and import my texture to rendering, lighting and shading, assign new material. I'm just going to use a Lambert, nothing shiny. And go my Lambert, go my color checkerboard, file. And the only reason I'm doing this is just to show you what it looks like with the normal on. So we're going to go to where it says dude, final. Here's our pants. If I click on the second one, you can see our normal map. So I hit open. Okay, so we won't see anything. You hit 4 is wireframe, 5 is shaded, and 6 should show color, but now it's repeating because we did not UV map this. So let's go back to ZBrush, and what we want to do is export this out, those pants, because they've been UV mapped and a UV map. So we're going to go to Subtool, make sure we have our pants selected to low poly at the lowest division, and we're going to export. And a pants, and our final folder, save. All right. The one that we had in Maya did not go through UV master, so it was not UV properly. That's why it was repeating. So whenever you have a problem, you know how to solve it. So we'll go back, delete that one, import the new pants. It's in our final. All right. Import. Okay, so it's automatically attaching it to the object. So I'm going to go to my default, and I'm going to go to my bump map. Open that up, hit File. File. Okay, and we want this as tangent space normals. I think it's the top one. I'll get this wrong, don't worry about it. Hit the normal map. Alright, so we're going to hit 3. When we hit 6, we should be able to see our normal maps. We have to go to render, 2.0. See a little bit of it. If we were in an Unreal game engine, it would show up really nicely, all our textures and so forth. I think you can see it there. Let's hit 5. Maybe, no, 6. Again, the textures are kind of pulling away from it. You can kind of see some of it here. You can see some of the curvature from the normal map here. But again, our texture is kind of pulling away from it. So you can see a little bit of our normal maps showing up here. Again, this is a really bad texture, so it's pulling away from our front side here. Alright, so that's basically the pipeline on how you get exporting your normal maps using those low and high polys. Kick it out so you can get that high detail. And then also Spotlight, you go ahead and get started with your textures. But again, you'll spend a lot more time than I did. I only spent like 2 minutes on it. You'll want to spend a good half hour on your textures. If you don't like using Spotlight or using the paint tools in ZBrush, let me know, and I can quickly show you how to UV map our low poly in Maya and then do a really nice texture job here. Alright, I'll stop here. Hopefully that'll get you started tomorrow.